We want to bring in our panel. Geraldo Rivera, co-host of The Five, and Leo Terrell, of course, a civil rights attorney and Fox News contributor. Ben Crump was on our air over the weekend. Let's take a quick listen to what he had to say.
I believe it's part of the institutionalized police culture that makes it somehow allowed. It doesn't matter if the officers are black, Hispanic, or white. It's part of the culture.
So you believe there was racial bias towards Tyree, even though all 5 of those officers who've been charged with second-degree murder are black?
Absolutely. It is not the race of the police officer that is the determining factor. It is the race of the citizen.
Leo Terrell, let's get your take this morning as we have digested the news, and now there are these calls for reform once again.
Thank you very much, Dana. Thank you for having me. First of all, this was not a racially motivated case. Police misconduct comes in all colors, and the Democrats just won't let that race card go. They're trying to play a race card. I would suggest to you very strongly, you have officers who are out of control. And when they talk about legislation, Dana, on a national level, President Trump suggested legislation during his administration, but it was a political football. It was blocked by Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. It is a race card issue that people will not let go on the left. If you want a solution, the solution is local. Dana, in Los Angeles right now, they're calling for the elimination of law enforcement. There is no police support in Democratic cities, and that is the problem. You need to have a confidence in law enforcement before you stop this. One other point, Dana, very important. It is a lack of training. People have no motivation to become police officers. There's been an attack on law enforcement for 3 years. Why would you want to become a law enforcement officer when you don't have the protection and the support of the people and the prosecutor?
Geraldo, it's Sandra. There's no doubt police reform is back in the national spotlight after the nation has had a chance to digest this horrific scene that played out there. At this point, over the weekend, the American people took in those horrifying images. The Wall Street Journal says this, and this is a really important point in all of this. The death of Tyree Nichols. The police who beat the young man are being held accountable. A case as ugly as this one is cause for dismay and reflection. But the solution is to recruit and train more good police, not condemn all police. Will we learn our lessons from past moments in history like this?
Well, Sandra, they tried very hard in Memphis to recruit a police force that looked like the community. Memphis is over 60% black. The police department is nearly 60% black. So they succeeded in integrating. So it wasn't an army of occupation. It was a police force that looked like the community that they sought to serve. The problem becomes there were no supervisors there. There were no sergeants there. There were no people to oversee the conduct of the 5 black cops who responded. Those cops were taught and told by the police chief, Chief Davis, and by the mayor that they wanted those cops to be tough. Memphis is one of the most violent, if not the most violent city in the country. Per capita in murders, it was 350 murders a couple of years ago. New York City, 13 times larger, had 500. So you can see that Memphis was far more brutally violent. So in that context, where everybody wants the cops to be a hammer, everything starts looking like a nail. The cops go out, they get filled with adrenaline, they overdo it. Very often in the Tyree Nichols case in a tragic, disgusting way. But you have to understand that the conduct of those cops has to be viewed in the context of the very difficult situation in which they were thrust by an administration desperate to control crime in one of the most violence-riddled cities in the country, if not the most violent. So I think that we have to put things in perspective. I'm all for reform. There's no place in any law enforcement for a cop who would do what we saw on that video. But it's easy in the comfort of your living room to judge them. Spend a night in one of these very, very difficult, as Leo knows, very difficult cities in terms of crime, and you'll have a whole different perspective, Sandra and Dana.
Let's give a last word then to Leo. Go ahead.
First of all, I don't know. The race of the officer is not an issue. I want to be very clear. I've worked on cases like this. Let me be very clear. Those officers were not trained to beat up Tyre Nichols. That is not police training at all. And there's a disconnect in the argument. You cannot get good law enforcement officers unless you have law enforcement support. There is another urban myth. Black people do want police officers. 95%, Sandra and Dana, 95% of the officers are great. There are 3 or 4% that are rotten to the core. They need to be eliminated, removed. But let's be very clear. This country needs law enforcement. Every civilized society has law enforcement to protect its citizens.
Leo Terrell and Geraldo Rivera, thank you very much for joining us on that this morning.
Thank you. Good to have you.